Hornady critical defense in my 380 and in my DB9 and in my 40 Glock.
Okay, have you shot anything alive with it yet?
Not yet. I mean, if I do, I'll find out how well it reacts. But
what? Okay, have you put at least a couple mags in each gun for each caliber, like to make sure it works?
Yeah,
does it work?
I shot it through that DB9. I was actually because the DB9 actually is like, do not use. You have to use light, like 100.
Yeah, do not use plus P.
Yeah, well,
use
I
light.
always put like 117 grain, lightweight, small bullets. But in that particular bullet size, it's the.
Where are you hiding that, buddy? Don't shoot yourself in the leg. Jeez.
It's the bullet's long and pointy.
Is the bullet long and pointy?
Yeah. Because what I was doing is I pull the barrel out and I drop the round in, and it chambers up just perfectly flush with like it's supposed to. Now, I think what they're maybe worried about the rounds will be too long. And I'm hungry. I'm about ready to rape you in the ass with that bottle.
Whoa! Yeah, slow down. All I'm trying to say is that when people talk about guns like yours that are fixed barrel, put that down. That's not the right shape. And then talk about like Glocks and other things that do not have that frame-mounted barrel. I've heard of people say, hey, because my barrel is rigid, because it's mounted to the frame, it's more accurate. And other people are like, it's a handgun, it's not going to be that accurate anyway, it's negligible, like learn to shoot better. Right now, I probably shoot better with that little POS high point versus my Glock.
That's sad.
Is it because of the Glock trigger? And it's like
the Glock trigger's not that bad.
Right. Well, it's not really single action either, though, because of
it's a weird double single because it doesn't have a long sweep like this, which is the double action, but it's not like a 1911 single action, which is like beep, like pressing a button.
Right, and I think that's part of the reason why I shoot so much better with that high point is because it's single action only.
Yeah.
And it's got that frame-mounted barrel. So all these guys that run around with 1911s, and they're punching like the same hole in a paper plate at 10 yards.
It's not a $2,000 handgun.
Well, there's a lot of work I think that needs to go into a 1911 to keep it working properly, unless you cleat it every 100 rounds. Don't dump sand in those.
Not really work. I think a 1911 works really well, but then you gotta look at it. It's a design that's 100+ years old.
Do you think the high power is better?
As a good boat anchor.
No, I agree with you. They're very, very heavy. But wasn't it like the first of the high capacity 9mm?
What? Oh, Browning high power? Oh, no, I thought you were talking about the high power. No,
I said high power, baby.
I think technically, if you look at the first high cap 9mm, it depends what your definition of high capacity is. A double stack magazine? Or more than 7 rounds?
Well, if we're talking about a full-sized handgun with more than 10 rounds, say.
No. Mauser M98 room handle.
I don't even... Isn't that the gun from, like, Star Wars?
Well, it's modeled. The gun that they made Han Solo's gun off is modeled after that. The broom handle is called that because it's got this weird bulbous, looks like a broom handle. The magazine's in front of the trigger guard. And the early ones were fed with a stripper clip. And they, fed like that. The later ones would have a detachable box magazine. They had like an artillery version with like a long-ass freaking barrel on it, like 10, 12-inch barrel. With it, and a holster was a wooden holster, which is also the buttstock. The gun went in, so you'd open it up, you'd attach it to it, so you had a buttstock on it. And some of them would have a detachable box magazine, and I think China was also making some of those that were select fire. China made a lot of them. And then you got the Luger. You want to talk about the old Luger 9mm? They were single stack, but made an artillery Luger with a snail drum magazine. Technically, would have probably been one of your first high caps. But the Browning high power was designed after the 1911. By Browning, and it was technically a high cap. I think it may have been one of the first double stack mags. I mean, short of doing more research and looking, it's at least one of the most common ones you're going to see.
Right.
The gun was designed and was used by Canada It was, a lot of the, forces in Europe during World War II, and Germans had it, but, they liked their own guns. But, I love the high power. Jeez, I'd love to have one.
Except they're $1,200.
No, you can get them a little cheaper.
How much cheaper?
I've seen them for around $5.
Really? A high power? Like an actual Browning high power?
Yeah. And the ones I don't, well, like the 1911s have this big spur hammer. And then, those always are real good about biting, taking flesh out. Then they did the A1, which had a slightly abbreviated hammer and a little bit more beaver tail. But the high power was the same way. It had a long spur hammer. Then later ones had more commander style, short bob, rounded off on the hole. And those are nice because it comes back at us fat-handed people that choke up high. It takes flesh out. That sucks. I'm hungry and I'm about ready to kill you.
If he kills me, he will then eat me. So we're gonna go get food.